welcome to episode 3 of Riding Upgrades. This one is called Graniteville Beast, and this is an interesting segment because my friend Phil created it. It's a pretty long one, so I'm going to be fast forwarding at various points just to skip to the more interesting parts. But as you can see, it starts off on a pretty solid gradient. This first section here is only 6 or 7%, but it very quickly ramps up to the steepest part, actually, of the whole ascent. I'll just fast forward here to where that starts, right about here, and you can see now we're into double-digit gradients. And I think this section tops out at around 17%, so this is no easy challenge. It's a little interesting that only a few people have actually ridden this segment. It's a long climb. It goes 4 miles all the way up to the top of the hill on Tower Road. Just gonna fast forward again here up the rest of this first steep section of the segment, and we're gonna climb about 1,200 feet in total. The elevation shown on the graph right now is feet above sea level. It's not elevation gain. So here is the first section where you get any recovery. We're about 4 minutes in, so that's that's as long as a lot of segments around here are in total. It's just that, but we're really only about a quarter of the way in. You only get about maybe 20-30 seconds of that though, and then you're back into the double-digit gradient. There's a lot of traffic on this road, at least in the first half, and I think that may be a reason why so few people have actually ridden it. The day that I did this, only I think 2 other people had ridden it, so I knew I had a shot at the podium at least. And I would say I was working hard, but I didn't really have a sense of how hard I would have to work in order to have a shot at taking the KOM. So it was kind of an exploratory ride, but I was definitely working. It's one of those rides where you don't really have much of a choice. You're going to end up working no matter what, because it's so steep and so long. And unless you have just outrageous gearing, you're going to be putting out power just to move up the hill. So this is the first sort of really extended break, really the only one, where you can see I moved into arrow position just to try to sneak out a little bit more of an advantage if possible, and also to rest my back. And we get down to 0% and a little bit of a negative grade. It'll bump back up, and then just over a little rise, and then there's another little downhill section coming up. And this is your break on this segment. This is all you get. The rest of it is climbing pretty severely. So you can see my heart rate is now down at about 159. That's the lowest it's going to get for the whole thing. And speaking of heart rate, at the beginning, I came into this at about 140, which is not low for me. And this is the third segment that I went after on this ride. If you've seen episodes 1 and 2 of Riding Upgrades, both of those happened on this same ride. So I'm coming into this somewhat fatigued, and normally if I'm recovered, I'll be riding flat ground at anywhere between 110 and 120, depending on how fast I'm going. But I came into this, already at 140 from the start, so I was already working pretty hard, and it would never get back down anywhere close to that for the rest of the ride. So up and downs here. This is a good solid section. We got a little bit of recovery here through the village, but not much. And you can see we're still climbing. We're at 2-3% through here. So it's one of those climbs where anything under like 5% feels like a relief, because the rest of it is so intense. But this section definitely feels like a relief, and it doesn't last long, because now we're at what's called Drury Hill, and this is a short little segment on its own, which is really intense if you're going to go after it separately. I mean, it's still pretty intense on this ride too. You can see it's 10 to 13, I think maybe up to 15% at one point. It's pretty steep. It's almost as steep as that first section at the beginning. So it comes in we're at 17 minutes. So hitting this section after an effort that long is not easy. And the other thing about it is that it's a little deceiving, because you can see there's an intersection coming, so you kind of get the feeling that, okay, if I get up there, I'm gonna be done with this section. I'll just fast forward up to it. But what actually happens is it just keeps going, and across the intersection, it actually even gets worse, because now it's gravel, and your rolling resistance goes up, and gravel is just slower all around, and it feels like a kick in the pants, because you've mounted Drury Hill, but now you've got Tower Road, which is all gravel, and it's pretty steady at just under 10% for the rest of the way, which it's about a mile. You can see 8, 9, 10, 11. We're going to be around those percentages for pretty much the rest of the ride. So it can be a little demoralizing to hit that, and that's definitely something to prepare for. The other thing about Tower Road and this gravel section, see, there's the radio tower. This is the first chance you get to see it. That's the destination. That sits at the highest elevation on this road. So that's where the segment ends. So once you get to this point, you can see the tower, and you think, all right, well, this is still a pretty tough climb, but I can see it. It's right there. I've got this last ascent to do. Let's dig in and go for it. My heart rate, you can see, is at 175. So I'm working pretty hard, digging in for the last push. But as we fast forward through that section, you come to discover, oh no, there's more. We go around this corner, and then there's another pitch up, and even that one is not really the last one. At this point, I'm pretty fatigued. You can see my power is dropping. I'm having trouble staying over 300 watts at that point, and through here, even though the grade is 6%, so it's not terribly steep compared to what we've been doing, but my power's gone. Got not much left. But at 25:54, we hit the end of the segment, and for the day, that was good for a KOM. I didn't really know it on the road, but I was happy about it when I got home and found that out. And of course, One great thing about climbing in Vermont is you always get great views at the top, and you get to go down the other side. Actually, this is turning around, heading back the way I came, because there's really good views. So that was a KOM effort. It unfortunately lasted only about a week, and my friend took it back. Kudos to him. But that's the Graniteville Beast. Definitely a climb worth checking out.